Welcome to the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel, the #1 YouTube channel for you to level up your communication skills, learn the art of public speaking, social skills, and personal branding to take your message to the world. For today's episode, we're entering the world of personal branding, and I'm going to be teaching you about the storytelling ego. Have you ever wondered how you should be telling stories? When you wonder something like this, you start getting a lot of books. You start getting a lot of knowledge from the external world. But what would you do if I told you that there was something in your internal world that you can be leveraging? Would you believe me? Well, today's episode is going to tell you exactly what that is. I don't want you to wait too long. I'll tell you right now. It's your ego. Your ego can be one of your best friends when you are trying to become a better storyteller. You don't need all these books. You don't need all these blogs. Heck, you don't even need this YouTube channel. But this YouTube channel will guide you towards the right way. I want to explain to you today what the storytelling ego is and how to leverage it in your life. If you understand how to leverage it, not only will you become a better storyteller, but you'll also become more emotionally intelligent as well. Call that a win-win. So if you're excited to learn how the storytelling ego works, make sure you drop a like for me right on below, and let's begin. This was a few years back. I was having a very long day. We had a P1 at my work, and a P1 basically is short for priority 1. That's what happens when our systems go crashing down. You've seen it before yourself. I'm sure you've seen that time that you tried logging into Instagram and it just wasn't working. Well, from Instagram's aspect, their system was down. And whenever the system is down, guess who's working very hard? The systems engineer, and that's what I was during that time. I got into work at 9 a.m. and I didn't leave work until 9 p.m. It was a 12-hour day. By the time that I got out of work, I was so tired. All I wanted to do was get home and just relax. As I got in my car, I put on some good music and I was driving back home. Now, one good thing about this was that normally when I got off of work at 5 p.m., the whole traffic was so busy. But today at 9 p.m., it's pretty empty. So I'm just chilling, I'm just driving, minding my own business, listening to some music and relaxing in the car ride until something changes. Behind me is this dude that is suddenly tailgating me, and he's getting very close. I look to the left of me, I look to the right of me, and I notice that the lanes are completely clear on the other sides. If you want to tailgate me, homie, why don't you go around me instead? But he's expecting me to move out of the way. Not gonna happen. I'm not bothering anyone. I'm just relaxing and minding my own business. But this dude keeps on tailgating to a point where you could tell he's getting agitated. So what he does is he goes to the next lane, which he should have done from the very beginning, speeds up, and then cuts me off very abruptly. At this point, I'm just starting to think, okay, I've already had a very long day. I'm just chilling, minding my own business, and there's this dumbass that's going out of his way to actively ruin the rest of my day. I was getting so pissed, and that's typically when the untamed ego wants to come out and play. The untamed ego was like, yo, you're not gonna just take that, right? I know you're gonna tailgate him now. You're gonna cut him back off, right? Well, I'm waiting. And typically that's what I may have done, but today something was different. I was feeling very tired, and I didn't know if I wanted to engage in something like this. Also, I knew that this particular highway that I was on, there were a lot of undercover cops all the time, so I just didn't want to risk it. But still, the untamed ego was like, yo, come on, man. Get your revenge. But I still wasn't going to do it. By the time that I get home, my roommate is like, yo, you look pretty pissed. What's up? And that is when I took the time and narrated that story from beginning to end. Bro, you won't believe it, man. I was just chilling, having a good day. Well, not a good day, a pretty tiring day. And there was this idiot that just made the day worse. And here I am creating this character of the guy that was tailgating me. And I was making him even more monstrous than he really was. I was creating this story. I was creating this conflict. And that's when I stopped. what's exactly going on here? I have a protagonist, myself. I have an antagonist, the tailgater. I have a conflict, being tailgated, and boom, I have a lesson. What do all four of these elements sound like? It sounds like a story if you ask me. And where did the story come out of? It wasn't something that I was planning. It wasn't something that I was reading books on. So where did the story come out of? Through the storytelling ego. You see, the ego is a narrative producing machine. When I say storytelling is primal, I mean it. You don't need to spend so much time learning all these different books. It will help, sure, but at the core level, storytelling is primal. Our ancient ancestors were doing it. Our ancient ancestors didn't have books. They didn't know rocket science. They didn't know math and all that stuff. But they knew that storytelling, it was a way of living. Their method was different though. They used to do it via cave paintings. Once language was being created as society scaled, things started to change. Now it was more so about using stories via your words. Consider telling stories via words a remix to the original, which is pictures. So if you're a photographer watching this, don't tune out yet. You are also a storyteller. But overall, what I want you to understand from this is that on a day-by-day basis, your ego is creating narratives all the time. And typically in these situations, these little micro stories that are happening, either you are the antagonist or the protagonist. Wait a minute, Armani, you're saying I could be an antagonist in my own life? Yeah. Think about people that have very low self-esteem. What do you think that they are doing? Unfortunately, they have made themselves the antagonist to their own story. Now, there are certain people that are the protagonist, but not the good type of protagonist. These are the people that just blame others. You ever seen that one time where there's a person who is always surrounded by drama all the time, and this person always has others do something wrong to them? They don't do anything wrong, but everyone around them is causing conflicts in this person's life. We all know someone like that. And typically, this person is the person that is actually starting the drama. They'll say, I don't know why drama follows me. I hate drama. No, you don't. Your subconscious mind loves it. But the good type of protagonist is the person who can get the stories, detach from them, and then tell it to an audience. Tell it to themselves as a third-party observer. You are getting stories all the time. But here's where journaling comes into a huge leverage. And this is just one vehicle. Journaling is just one vehicle. You could do YouTube, you could do podcasts, you could do Twitter, etc. But say for that situation where I was getting tailgated, I did have this huge conflict. Imagine that I didn't tailgate the guy back, which I didn't do, so it's not too difficult to imagine. And I come home. I'm still pissed. I'm still seething, right? Well, this anger, I can get it from the internal world and put it into the external world. And I will put it onto the external world via a journal. This is actually a process called externalization. It's when you're taking something that's a thought that is very ambiguous and you're externalizing it. You're making it more clear to the public. This form of entertainment is done anywhere. Any form of storytelling, it's something that someone is experiencing, then it is taken out to the public. Even screen directors? Yes, even screen directors. Screen directors are imagining something with their counterparties, they're taking it from their internal world, and then they're brainstorming externally. But externalization is where the magic happens, and the externalization is where you start to detach yourself from the ego. So what starts off as a storytelling venture now starts delving into the world of emotional intelligence. It starts delving into the world of emotional intelligence because the more that you are able to tell stories of your life and you're able to keep on detaching, the more mature that you just happen to become. There's a gap between your stimulus and your response. This right here is where the story is born, and this right here is where emotional maturity is born as well. This is a huge life hack because if you are a personal brand and you're thinking about, okay, what am I going to talk about today? I'm completely out of topics. Just settle down. Settle down and tune in. And I guarantee you, your ego is like, Nah fam, we ain't out of topics. Can you believe what Susie did a few weeks ago? She cut me off, she did this, she did that. Those are all stories that are waiting to be told. And every single time that you tell the story, you are gaining power over the story. So storytelling isn't just a form of entertainment, it's actually a form of method to rewire your mindset. And when you start evaluating storytelling in this way, you start having more enthusiasm regarding it. Because when you're just reading books and just consuming more and more books on the tips, tricks, and strategies, what's happening is you're not truly understanding how it applies to you in your life. You're turning something that is primal and turning it into a job. Who likes to do a job? No one. But who likes to have fun? Everyone. So start viewing storytelling in that level. It's something that's primal. And your ego, it thinks in stories. What is the story that you are telling yourself right now? Are you someone that's just whining without solutions? Because whining without solutions is reprogramming your subconscious mind for the worst. But guess what? Whining with solutions is you learning how to tell stories in a very eloquent way. Stories at the end of the day come down to character, conflict, and lesson. Character, conflict, and lesson. If you can get these three simple variables, you start rewiring your entire reality. Every single story that you write starts changing your perception. You start viewing the world in a different way. You could become someone that is extremely negative to someone that's extremely optimistic simply through the art of storytelling. Our ancient ancestors were onto something. There's no reason that they just did it for the heck of it. They knew that there was a driving force behind it. Was it because it was primal? Was it because they were rewiring their perceptions? That's only up to you to find out. Thank you for joining the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel, and I'll catch you on the next episode.